Members of the board, you have in your packet a transfer request for an incoming kindergarten student that both principals have agreed to. We're asking board approval for this transfer request at this time.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the elementary transfer request as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Wow, well that was quick. That concludes our regular portion of tonight's agenda and brings us to the second call from citizens' comment. If anybody in the audience would like to address the board on any topic, now will be your last chance to do so. Anybody would like to address the board, please stand and state your name for the record. And everybody jumps up for once. Hearing and seeing no comments, we'll close citizens' comment and conclude first with Mr. Chapman's comment and then board member comment. Mr. Chapman?
Thank you, Mr. Green. Members of the board, I have a couple of comments I'd like to make, and they all are somehow, some way related to COVID-19. So here we go. Sounds like a broken record. With the recent development, as you all are aware, at Central and placing the school on e-learning this week, I want to remind everyone that we're still dealing with this virus. And we need to respect the safety protocols that are in place. We just have to be very diligent in our efforts. As I mentioned earlier, we're still in that blue advisory level, which is good for us. But we've seen surrounding counties dip back into that yellow area, and we don't want to do that. So just again, another example that we need to, that we're not in the clear, and that we need to stay on top of our game with regard to the virus and do what's best for ourselves, our students, and our community. With that, as the current school year winds down, we're working on our plan to return to in-person instruction next year, complete with up-to-date protocols and precautionary measures in place. This is part of getting back to normal, or that new normal, as we possibly can. And one thing that's already been determined is that the high school and middle school will go back to their original start and end times back to next year. That's one thing that we think is pretty easy to do, and it takes a little bit of the added pressure off the transportation department as well. This plan is a requirement for our ESSER 3 funds coming in here later this spring and into the summer. So we have to present, which we will in our May meeting, plan for our back to school next year. And so we have it documented as a matter of board record. So please understand that our plan, as it is, the current plan will be fluid to assure that we have all our health and safety measures in place and up to date, and know that we have contingency plans in place like we did with when we put our re-entry plan together a year ago. So this is a very shorter version of that, but just know that we have to have that submitted in so that we have that on record.
Is the DOE going to provide any guidance like they did last year on the original COVID plans, or are they just
not at this point?
Leave it up to
they've given us ESSER 3 guidance on that, but as far as our back to school plan, it's whatever you make it to be.
Yeah.
So
home rule.
Yes, exactly. One important thing about that is I've been asked more times than I can count about facial coverings for next year, and at this time we don't have any guidance. We know we have guidance through the end of the school year, which is technically June 30th. That mandate is still in place. But as far as going into next school year, as soon as we get any guidance, if we get any guidance, I'll be sure to share that out. We've been doing that COVID dashboard since, I believe, October. And last Friday, it was about as good as it gets. The last couple weeks, with a couple of little hiccups here and there, it's been very good. And I believe we've, knock on wood, survived the spring surge for the most part. Many of our staff members have been vaccinated due to privacy concerns. We do not have a list of those staff that have or have not been vaccinated, but we do know that a number have been and are continuing to go in that route. And the last thing, I was asked earlier regarding vaccinating our students, and I've contacted the Vermillion County Health Department regarding providing COVID vaccines for all eligible high school students. If you recall, the Pfizer vaccine is what is required for the students who are 16 and above to receive, and that those vaccines are shipped in quantities of 1,170 doses, and far more than what we need, obviously. But due to logistical reasons, including the lack of appropriate storage for the Pfizer vaccine, the health department is unable to vaccinate our students at this time. That being said, they have advised us that the Lansbaum Center at the Union Hospital campus in Terre Haute has the Pfizer vaccine, and our students may register there on the 211 or rshot.com, I think it's called.
Dave, even after they really shut down?
I believe so, yes. That's the indication I got from Wendy.
Okay.
So they have that option, so.
And you just identify yourself as a student?
Hopefully we can get more and more kids. There's still been that, there's that talk out there about how we're gonna get younger students vaccinated before the start of the school year next year, but we haven't seen anything further on that, so we're still waiting to hear on that.
Was it Pfizer's going for 12? They're trying to get Pfizer down to 12,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. So, once we hear more on that, we'll get that word out and go from there. But that's what I have for tonight.
Yeah, and I think just make sure everybody's not reading, we're not talking about, at this time, there's no policy on the table about requiring vaccination.
No, none at all.
We're just talking about how we facilitate parents.
If they want it. Yes.
We're just trying to help be community minded.
Make it easier for them to get it if they so choose, yes.
So,
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, that's one thing that I want everybody to make sure they understand. There is no mandate for students or staff
right.
to get the vaccine. It is there for them if they so choose. And that's it.
All right. Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Hawkins?
I just want to go on record as wishing all the folks who are leaving us the very best in their future endeavors. And of course, Robin's been here several years, so
Yep.
She's been a good one for us, so we'll miss her. Welcome, Matt. Glad you're here. Glad you've taken on the things you're taking on. And I thought someone might say, when I was talking about the history of the school and the renovations, Jerry, have you been here through all those? I thought maybe Ron didn't say that, but yes, I have been here. One thing, Mark, that I had asked Mr. Chapman about some time ago is, I've been impressed with some of the school districts and how many credits their kids are leaving with, and
Yep.
I kind of wanted to know where we were with that and what we were looking for. And
Yeah, absolutely. We just met actually with Laura Hayes last week from Ivy Tech and talking about the Indiana College Corps. I think you may have seen that release a couple weeks ago about Park Heritage students and how much money those parents have saved by their students being able to graduate high school with college credits. And so we just wanted to do some investigating ourselves, and we're very fortunate to what we have. We offer 7 different AP classes at South Vermillion. We offer 2 different dual credit core classes in math and science, pre-calc and anatomy, and then the other dual credits all come through the CTE program. To be honest with you, Dr. Hawkins, the biggest hang-up we have is to do dual credit. Your teachers have to have a master's or be working towards that master's, and we all know that comes down to money, people being able to afford to go back and take those classes, and we're working with Ivy Tech. We just found out that one of our English teachers, because of his previous experience, qualifies to teach dual credit, and so we may be able to pull off some speech and interpersonal communication. So we're gaining traction and getting closer to being able to offer that Indiana core, and that's our goal. We'd like to, and we're having those communications, those contacts with our teachers now, continue to grow that area.
okay, thanks. It might be interesting sometime to get some information from guidance folks about how many credits kids are leaving school with here, because a lot of those were more academic with. So I'd be interested in knowing that at some point. How kids are leaving with credits. credits. So,
Like I said, most of ours come through the CTE, that's where a lot of our kids are getting their college credits. The AP, although it's really good experience, classroom rigor, unfortunately, in order to get the college credit, you have to pass the test with a 3-year higher, and not all of our students do that. So they may take the AP class, but they may not receive the college credit because they don't score high enough on the AP exam.
you know, I guess there's something a little confusing to me. In order to, so are we assuming that a school like, let's say Park Heritage has that program? Are we assuming then that all the people who are teaching those kids have content masters?
You know, and they were very fortunate. I asked IBTech the same question. And when they consolidated Rockville and Turkey Run, basically what they did was they took any teacher with a master's and put them in the high school.
Oh, sure.
So they could offer the dual credit. I mean, it worked out perfectly for them.
Yeah, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious, and I'm sure other folks would be too, at some point to get a report on how many kids are living with, you know,
Absolutely.
dual credits, so
Absolutely.
appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I know to that point, you know, there is a lot of, I happen to know Rose is certainly looking at it, but multiple colleges now are looking at going to 3-year bachelor's degree because of what incoming freshmen, well, they're not coming in, they're not incoming as freshmen anymore, they're incoming as sophomores, so, you know, that's gonna, you know, in the next 5-10 years, that trend is gonna very much continue. So, the better that we can increase our resources to do that, the better. Well, you know what I mean.
The only other thing, Dave, was, and maybe you're gonna talk about this at some future time, about where the virtual is going and Admentum and
Yes.
all that, okay, good.
All right. That it, Dr. Hawkins?
Yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Ollie?
Like Dr. Hawkins says, I wish these folks the best who are leaving us, but boy, it makes me sad. There are some really good young teachers leaving here, and it just, hate to see that, but of course wish them the best. But on the upside of that, I really enjoyed reading the letter that Mr. Delisle looks like he's gonna have a lot to offer our district too.
We were all very impressed when we interviewed him.
Yeah, where he talks about, he has a lot of background and some good skill in summarizing data and making data visual, and I bet you're gonna really be able to use that skill of him.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
be exciting to watch him grow and the things that he brings to our corporation, but hate to see these other guys go. That's it.
Thank you. Mrs. Crowder?
I'd like to voice just the same thing. Congratulations to Ms. Vukovich on her retirement, and congratulations to Mr. Payne and to Mr., is it Delisle?
Delisle.
Delisle.
Okay.
And that's it.
Well, thank you. Ditto. Shout out to the WCAT or the,
Yeah.
okay, the,
Yeah.
I mean, kind of built that under COVID, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what a, not even a year, well, coming up on a year later, what a great story. And it's kind of neat. I was on that back when we had Cat Vision, Lane Gaming they put
Yeah.
together years ago. So I'd like to see those kind of things. I think that's great for kids, and hopefully we can continue to build that out. I know it's probably a funding challenge at times, but to the extent that we can. And I know airing the sports program, you know, I don't know if that's gonna become, when COVID hopefully is in our rearview mirror, I don't know if that's gonna become a thing and continue on, I hope.
Possibilities are endless.
But,
You just grow from it.
I know a lot of family members appreciated that, and it's amazing where people tuned in from across the country or even world sometimes, so.
Yeah, and we could look to build some sustainability into that too.
Oh, I think you can, yeah.
You're right, that original program
Yeah.
probably lasted 10, 12 years anyway.
Yeah. So that's really all I have too, so, anybody else before we adjourn? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion. Have a second? We'll stand adjourned, thank you all for coming.
You might see I put tabs on all of these.
Eric, how you doing?
Everybody signs these.
We know, Eric.